faculty and staff of Covenant University, distinguished guests here present, kings and queens in Hebron, members of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen.
Adopt CBN's failure to heed the Global Bank's Wise Counsel as regulatory rascality, which portends great danger to the future of the Nigerian banking industry. This is also worrisome considering the myriad of challenges that have negatively impacted banks' efficiency and customers' trust, such as poor corporate governance and the high rate of non-performing loan portfolios, the spate of frauds, dearth of staff in critical ICT operations, and inadequate and ineffective online banking facilities, among others. The emerging scenario in the Nigerian banking sector creates palpable fear and throws up questions about the health status of our banking industry and regulatory frameworks that guarantee sustainable growth and development. It is disheartening to know that both staff and customers of these banks are often affected by some unwholesome practices in the banking industry. Some of the identified unhealthy and unethical practices to the bank's staff include unfair labor practices, unrealistic target setting, outsourcing of jobs, and opposition to union activities. On the other hand, the commonly observed unethical practices to the bank customers include unauthorized tampering with customers' accounts, lack of confidentiality in respect of customers' account, and excessive charges on transaction, and excessive charges of interest on loan, creating difficult and sometimes impossible procedure for obtaining loans and lack of accountability. Well, we have the lecturer here who will give us the full dose of this lecture today. But it may also interest us to know that the Nigerian banks must therefore win customers' confidence and develop innovative products to meet their needs in good and bad times. And banking thrives on the trust and confidence of customers that the bank has the cash and other resources to fulfill its obligations. And any failure to meet customers' monetary and service expectations can spark massive deposit withdrawals and possibly a bank failure, irrespective of the solvency of these institutions. The consequences for the entire economy can immediately become so wide-reaching. That is, it is also the responsibility of the Apex Bank as a regulatory body to ensure bank protection and reliability and to limit bank collapses and the anxiety it can provoke in the polity. Once again, I want to reiterate that securing our bank's financial health for the sustainable growth and development is a clarion call that all stakeholders must heed to. As a leading global center of knowledge, Covenant remains sensitive and committed to espousing viable pathways towards our national aspiration for economic transformation and better quality of life. While congratulating the inaugural lecturer for this milestone in his academic journey, I enjoin you to engage in propagating this discourse as we work towards in bringing the desired policy changes to fruition. Again, I'd like to welcome every one of you to this 29th inaugural lecture. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
That was the Vice Chancellor of Covenant University, Professor Abiodun H. Adebayo. Please, can we once again put our hands together for him? It's my privilege again at this point to respectfully invite to the podium Professor Felicia Olokoyo to bring us the citation of the inaugural lecturer. Can we put our hands together for her?
the Chancellor and Chairman, Board of Regents, Dr. David O. Oyedepo, kindly permit me to stand on the already established protocol. At this juncture, can I humbly request the lecturer of today to please rise and keep standing as I read the citation. Professor IKPEFAN joined the services of Covenant University, Ota, as Lecturer 2 on August 17, 2002, with rich experiences from the public and the private sectors. He attended St. Luke's Anglican Primary School, Sapele, now known as Bishop Crowther Primary School, and Okotie Ebo Grammar School, Sapele, Delta State, owned by the First Minister of Finance of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Chief Festus Okotie Ebo of blessed memory. He also attended the famous Edo College, Benin City, for his higher school certificate, from where he gained admission into the University of Benin and obtained his BSc in Business Administration. He also obtained his MBA Finance and MSc degree in Public Sector Management from the same university. Professor IKPEFAN registered for the PhD program in Covenant University in 2004 and obtained his PhD in 2010. He is the first PhD degree holder in the Department of Banking and Finance of Covenant University. Professor IKPEFAN is a full-bred professional. He's a fellow of both the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, ICAN, and Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, CIBN. He is also an associate of the Chartered Institute of Stockbrokers, CIS Nigeria, and the Chartered Institute of Securities and Investment, CISI London. He pioneered the present collaboration between Covenant University and the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria for the takeoff of the MSc ACIB program in 2014-15 academic session. It's on record that that program started in Covenant University for the first time in Nigeria. This program was brought into the Nigerian university system to build human capital for the Nigerian banks. It also fostered the existing linkage and collaboration between Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria and Covenant University undergraduate finance program in 2014, when it was the HOD. The linkage and collaboration between the Global Chartered Institute of Securities and Investment, CISI London, and Covenant University was facilitated by him in 2020. The certificate of ACSI is currently giving some graduates of Covenant University global relevance. Professor IKPEFAN has served in different capacities in the Research Committee, Syllabus Review Committee, and Monitoring Committee of CIBN, and several committees in Covenant University. He is an examiner and assessor of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria and a team leader of the case study of the professional examination of ICAN. Professor IKPEFAN is one out of the 2 professors in Nigeria admitted as authorized dealing clerk, ADC, of the Nigeria Stock Exchange. He is a resource person for the Nigerian University Commission accreditation and was among the 3 professors commissioned by the NUC to draft the curriculum for securities and investment in 2018, which has since been introduced into the Nigerian university system. Professor IKPEFAN also serves as a consultant to several finance companies in Nigeria. Can we put our hands together for him? The Governing Board of African Academics Network, a consortium of distinguished academics, scholars, and researchers across institutions of higher learning and professional bodies in Nigeria, with affiliates across Africa, has graciously elected Professor IKPEFAN for the Distinguished Lifelong Academic Excellence Achievement and Fellowship Awards. The award is in recognition of his referred status as an accomplished distinguished academic, coupled with his numerous contributions to the body of knowledge through research in his discipline. He has also served as keynote speaker in several academic fora. Professor IKPEFAN has published over 100 articles in reputable journals locally and internationally, and he has many textbooks publishable to his name. He also serves as reviewer and board member of several journals. He has successfully supervised over 100 undergraduates, 19 MSc holders, 8 PhD holders, and is currently supervising 4 ongoing PhDs. Professor IKPEFAN serves as an assessor and examiner to several universities, locally and internationally. He has also examined academic papers of professorial candidates for promotion for 7, a match commissioner and assessor with the Nigerian Football Federation referee. Professor IKPEFAN is happily married and blessed with children. Please, may we all rise as I respectfully invite to the podium the 29th inaugural lecturer of today, 39th inaugural lecturer of Covenant University, our own dear Professor Oche, AILEMEN, IKPEFAN, to serve us his sumptuous academic menu in this August occasion. Thank you.
You can see them, please. Thank you. Now, my topic this afternoon is securing the financial health of Nigerian banks today for the future. I will start by looking at the outline. I have about 21 outlines, but I will be brief on each of the outline. Excuse me, okay. Now, banks are to the economy what the earth is to the human body. They cycle necessary capital through the whole, and they are barely noticed until pressure, necessity, or crisis. This is the word of Henry Smith. What Henry Smith is trying to say is that banks are the engine of any economy. When the banks are on strike, economic activities come to an halt. Now, the recent Naira color design was meant to the Naira color design was meant to make monetary policy more efficacious, make digital payment the norm on Africa's biggest economy, curb money laundering, prevent counterfeit of the Naira, suppress insecurity, and to stem inflation by reducing the amount of currency held outside the banks. But because of poor implementation, the policy has not worked well for Nigeria, and it has affected the financial health of Nigeria. One of the duties of a bank to a customer is to honor the obligation of the customer as at when due. That means if you go to the bank is to honor your obligation without any negotiation. But today we know that that's not the position. They negotiate how much they give to you. That portrays that the bank is in grave financial unrest, financial instability. Now, the financial health of any country, of Nigerian banks, can be looked at from 4 strands. The best form of a bank's financial health is when the bank is liquid and solvent. Liquidity means ability to meet obligations as at when due. You go to the bank, they're able to pay you your money. And they're able to meet their current obligations as at when due. Solvency is the ability of a bank to meet its obligation in the long term as at when due. That means when the assets is more than the liability. Psalm 118 says that this is the day the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. I joined the service of Covenant University on 17th August 2002 as a lecturer 2. And I became the first CU professor of banking and finance about 15 years later, and the first in the Department of Finance. This is the 7th inaugural lecture of College of Management and Social Sciences, and 7 means uniqueness and completeness. My motivation for finance and love for finance started way back in Union Bank of Nigeria Limited. My love and motivation for banking and finance as the first choice started as an undergraduate. All through my 3 years at the University of Benin, I was an intern in Union Bank. So my interest developed right from there. There are 6 major branches of finance. We have bank management, development finance, public sector finance, international finance, financial technology, corporate finance, and financial management. Bank management is the process of managing the bank's statutory activities and implementation of management function in banking. Public sector finance is the management of a country's revenue, expenditure, and debt load. Financial technology is the innovation that uses technology to improve and deliver financial services. Development finance is engaging the public sector to galvanize resources to facilitate private sector investment. International finance is the study of financial interaction that transpire between 2 or more countries. Corporate finance and financial management is how business fund their operations in order to maximize profit and minimize costs. Chancellor, sir, I'm indeed honored to give my 7th inaugural lecture today. Other specialized branches of finance include actuarial science, risk management, personal finance, and cash flow management. Now, overview of banks' financial crisis. There are 2 precursors of financial crisis. We have 2 precursors to financial crisis. That's low capital adequacy ratios of banks and shortfall of liquidity. That's the determinant force of financial crisis. The introduction of banking ordinance of 1952, the expansion of Central Bank of Nigeria in 1959, and the promulgation of the Banking Act of 1969 all appear to have brought in some sanity in the Nigerian banking system. The widespread distress of banks in the 1990s came as a result of bad management, fraud, insider trade lending. Over 33 banks were distressed in Nigeria, and a number of them were handed over to Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation for outright liquidation, while others were resolved through mergers and acquisition. The 2009 banking crisis in Nigeria, 8 out of the 24 banks in operation were in grave condition. The crisis impacted the economy through various branch channels. 1, significant decline in oil revenue, leading to revenue attrition for all tiers of government. It led to reduced capital inflows in the economy. It led to depletion of external foreign reserve. Demand pressure in the foreign exchange market. There was a substantial decline in stock market capitalization and share prices. There was huge bank losses or margin loans and shell-backed facility. There was low valuation with many banks trading below book value. There was the declining assets value and declining credit growth, credit crunch, and slowdown of output growth. The financial sector crisis in Nigeria. The common causes of financial distress and financial health and business failure are often a complicated mix of problems and symptoms. The most significant cause of financial crisis distress in young companies are usually capital inadequacy. When a bank is facing capital inadequacy, it means that the capital of the bank, which is the shareholders' fund, which is the equity and the reserve, has been eroded by losses. Where the business did not start with enough capital and has struggled from day one, Yahoo and Kadi 2012. The quality of management is a major determinant of banks' long-term survival. Despite measures taken by CBN in 2004 to redress the issues plaguing the banking industry, such as introduction of corporate governance, legal reforms, strengthening of legal regulatory framework, illiquidity problem, and capital adequacy kept reoccurring. The banking crisis and empirical evidence. Bank strength and weakness in selected countries. Banks are susceptible to a range of risks: credit risk, liquidity risk, and interest rate risks. The credit risk is when the loans and other assets turn bad and cease to perform. Liquidity risk is when withdrawal exceeds the available funds. Interest rate risk is rising, means when interest rate is rising and there will be reduced value of bonds held by banks, and that forces the bank to pay relatively more on its deposit than it receives on its loans. A systemic bank crisis occurs when many banks in the country are in a serious solvency or liquidity problems at the same time. I've said that liquidity and solvency is the best form of financial health of any bank, Nigerian bank. And the worst form of it is illiquidity and insolvency, that is outright liquidation. In between these two strands, we have the third and the fourth. Liquidity, a bank can be liquid and insolvent. and bank can be illiquid and solvent. Nigeria is in a position of illiquidity and solvent, induced by the Central Bank of Nigeria. It was not created by the banks. If it were a normal banking operation, all of these banks today would have been taken by Central Bank. They will appoint interim management to take over their management. But that is not so, because it was self-inflicted. 561 bank failures from 2001 to 2002, and capital is the cornerstone of the banking system, safety and stability. Overview of bank failures districts across the world. A bank is considered to have failed if fitted in one of the following categories. The financial institutions was capitalized by either the central bank or an agency specifically created to address such crisis, or required a liquidity injection from the monetary authority. The financial institutions, B, operations were temporarily suspended or frozen by the government. C, the government closes the financial institution. D, the financial institution was absorbed or acquired by another financial institution. These are bank failures and distress across the world, how it occurs. Now, the Australian banking sector is in compliance with the International Basel III framework, which is evidence of underlying strength of the Australian banking system. The Singapore banking sector has consistently been ranked one of the easiest places in the world to do business and the most competitive country in Asia, enjoying a stable business environment. The assessment by the IMF affirms Singapore as standing as a sound and stable financial center. Bank distress, Nigerian perspective. Liquidity is perhaps the most important measure of distress. Liquidity results in suspension of payment to depositors for a period of time or causes the bank to default on its maturing claims. The role of NDIC and MCBN and NDIC. The CBN and NDIC have the responsibility for ensuring the solvency of our banks and should examine the books of banks periodically through off-site and on-site supervision. The Prudential Guidelines, which was of 1991, is an important move aimed at ensuring the solvency of banks. The distress in Nigerian banks started with the Prudential Guidelines of 1991, when CBN asked banks to categorize their debts into performing and non-performing accounts. And the non-performing accounts were capitalized into doubtful, substandard, doubtful, and lost accounts, which means any of these bad loans that were into this category were written to their books as a losses to the bank. So many banks started making profit. So banks have been striving to contend with that Prudential Guideline that came on board in 1991. The systematic important banks are those classified as too big to fail by the CBN. When they fail, it has ripple effect on the economy. They include the First Bank, the Zenith Bank, GT Bank, Access Bank, UBA, Sky Bank, and Diamond Bank, now acquired by Access Bank. The Financial Stability Report released by Central Bank for December 2016 revealed that the banks in the country failed a capital adequacy ratio test. Capital adequacy ratio is the capital to loan exposure. That is the capital of the bank to loan exposure. Effect of bank failure on the economy. A bank failure is when a bank runs short of liquid funds. For instance, the Great Depression, recession of 2008, that the global financial crisis was a bank-related crisis that came as a result of inadequate funds. It led to no lending, lowering of demand, consumer confidence dipped, and demand deficiency and unemployment. That is, the investment in the economy was low at that time. And so banks could not even grant loan at that time to customers, to investors, or to financial corporate bodies. The best measure of a bank's financial health can be explained in terms of liquidity, solvency, operating efficiency, and profitability. Liquidity, I've explained before, the ability to meet your obligation in the short term as at when due. And solvency is the ability to meet the obligation of your creditors or your customers. In the long term, when assets is more than the liabilities, a bank is solvent. Then we also have the operating efficiency. A company basic operational profit margin after deducting the available cost of producing and marketing the company product. That's the operating efficiency of the bank. Then we have the profitability, which is the bottom line of any business venture. The CAMEL parameter helps to gauge the financial performance of banks according to Joe 1992 and Oluyemi 1995, cited in the K 1999. CAMEL means, C means capital adequacy. That is, the bank is very, very, very strong in terms of capital. Assets quality, is the bank, the quality and quantity of assets okay? Do they have toxic waste in their loans? The management, are they capable? Are they able to manage those banks? The liquidity and the earnings, the profit. That's some of the parameters we use to determine the financial health of a bank. We also have revenue growth, we have a revenue per client, we have customer satisfaction, profit margin, and client retention rate. These are subsidiary. Our bank contributed to the Great Depression. The causes and consequences of the Great Depression began after the stock market crash in October 1929. Many banks failed due to dwindling cash reserve. It led to fall in GDP by 25% from 1929 to 1933. The unemployment rate reached a peak of 25% in 1933. Consumer price fell to 25%. Wholesale prices plummeted to 32%. The Great Depression spread rapidly from US to Europe and the rest of the world as a result of the close interconnection between United States and European economies after World War II. Canada has one of the most accessible banking systems in the world. More than 99% of Canadian adults have an account with a financial institution. According to the International Monetary Fund, Canadian financial system is one of the safest and strongest in the world. They also have a strong cyber system that makes it difficult for people to commit all this kind of yahoo we see today. They have a very resilient financial system. Proverbs 13:11, the not dishonest money swindles away, but whoever gathers money little by little makes it grow. So when banks involve themselves in insider traders, sharp practices, that is not what the scripture is saying. Proverbs 22:16, whoever oppresses the poor for his own increase and whoever gives to the rich both come to poverty. That also explains what I've said earlier. Did bank exist in the ancient times? The history of banking began with the most prototype banks, which were the merchants of the world, who gave grain loans to farmers and traders who carried goods between cities. This was around 2000 BC in Assyria, India, and Sumeria. What did Jesus Christ say about banking? The art of banking can be found in Luke 19:23. Here are some also important few verses that will help remind banks that God is in control and that we can go to him with our stressful financial problems. That is Matthew 6:31-32, Philippians 4:6, Matthew 7:9-11, Philippians 4:19. Prosperity can also be ascertained through money, the money we earn in a way that aligns with our inner being. And happiness, which involves health, service, and other key relationships. And also sustainability, which is a method of making money that increases your health and well-being for the long term. Table 2 is telling us about the 9 phases of banking in Nigeria. We have 9 phases. The first phase is colonial era. Second phase is indigenization era. The third phase is the banking regulation. The fourth stage is the emergence of CBN. Fifth stage is the provision of banking decree. Sixth stage is market regulation. Seventh is the guided regulation. 8 is universal banking, and 9 is colonial era. The Nigerian financial system consists of both the money market and the capital market. The money market has the banking institutions and the non-bank financial institutions, while the capital market has the Security and Exchange Commission and Stock Exchange. At the apex of the Nigerian financial system, we have the following financial authorities: Ministry of Finance, Central Bank, Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation, Security and Exchange Commission, Federal Mortgage Bank. All of these apex bodies, they perform 3 major functions: regulating, controlling, and supervising. The conditions that influence capital adequacy. What can make a bank's capital adequacy to be strong can be determined by the following: the quality of management, the quality and quantity of the liquid assets, are they convertible to cash, the history of earnings and retention thereof, are they eating every profit they make or giving them out as dividend, quality and character of ownership. But that has changed in Nigeria since Soludo came on board in 2005. No, we don't have me and my son's PSA anymore. Most banks, all of the banks today are quoted, the 25 banks we have. Then we have the potential volatility of deposit structure. Are the deposits volatile? Are they vulnerable, or are residual deposits? Banks that have volatile deposits may be able to give loans to their customers because the loans come in as they fly out. That also influences capital adequacy. The quality of operating procedure also influences the capital adequacy. The capacity to meet potential credit needs of its environment is also very important. The traditional support of the regulatory authorities is also very important as a factor that determines capital adequacy. The trends in bank capitalization. In 2005, CBN increased the capital of banks from 2 billion to 25 billion. This was to make the banks stronger. Before this time, all the banks of Nigeria put together, they were not up to one bank of Kenya, Malaysia, and South Africa. So Soludo took a grand stride by increasing the deposits of the capital of banks from 2 billion to 25 billion. The capital requirement for deposit money banks has been reviewed several times between 1952 and 2006. But the minimum period, if you look at this table, the minimum period the central bank has waited to tell the commercial bank to increase their minimum period of capital is 10 years. But from 2006 to today, it's about 17 years. It's very worrisome. The banks are facing great problem of financial health. Because of what is happening today, we can see what is happening today. They cannot meet obligations as at when due. If you discount the capital of commercial bank, deposit money bank today, in relation to 2005, what they have today is about 7.5 billion. That cannot finance the real sector. So it is high time the central bank review the capital bank. Most of the existing banks are increasing their capital because the capital is the reserve and the equity capital. They are increasing it from time to time. But the new banks that have been given license, 25 billion naira cannot be the minimum period of capital. It cannot go. They cannot finance anything except they involve in loan syndication. That is combining with other banks, liaising with other banks to finance a customer that needs such fund. That is more than one-third of their period of capital. You cannot give more than one-third of your paid capital as loan to customers. An overview of banking capitalization, which is the global level. The PASEC Committee on Banking Supervision, BCBS, a committee of banking supervision authorities, was established in 1975 by the central bank governors of the group of 10 countries, which is the result of Basel Accord. This committee's main goal is to provide guidelines for banking regulation. So far, the BCB has issued 3 accords, Basel I, Basel II, and Basel III, for improving the bank credibility by strengthening banking supervision. Basel I was established to specify a minimum capital to risk-weighted assets ratio for banks. Basel II was established to introduce supervisory responsibility and to further strengthen the minimum capital requirement. Basel III was established to promote financial stability by enhancing the liquidity of buffer by adding a layer of equity. Table 4 is telling us about the 1998 Basel Accord interpretation of bank capital adequacy. The best form of capital adequacy ratio is 8%, but here in Nigeria, the central bank has put it at 10% for all the banks and 50% for systematic important banks. Systematic important banks are those banks when they fail, it has a full effect on the economy. I mentioned those banks earlier. Sustainable banking perspective. Sustainable banking perspective is a strategy that refers to banking and investment practice that pursue profit while prioritizing social responsibility and also environmental sustainability. Responsible and inclusive lending, promoting projects and programs in line with environmental and social and governance framework. A triple-down line approach is what is needed for sustainable banking practice. That means you consider both the profit, the people, and the planet. These are very important. You don't consider only profit in a sustainable banking practice. How sustainability will change the banking sector? Sustainability greatly affects all sectors, including the banking sector. Banks are now adopting sustainable principles that will change the financial sector and its future long-term strategy through these 3 items I've mentioned here: economic viability, environmental protection, and social equity. That is, economic viability is talking about cost-benefit analysis. Look at the cost and the benefit before you give out facility. Environmental protection, is that loan going to cause pollution in the environment? Is going to be harmful, hazardous? And social equity, are all the people in that environment, community involved in the banking practice in that environment? Nigerian Sustainable Banking Principle. In 2002, the Nigerian Bankers Committee approved the adoption of a sustainable banking principle by banks, discount house, and development finance institutions. It covers 9 principles. Principle 1, 2, 5, and 7 were emphasized in my study. Principle 1 is saying that we should get environmental and social consideration into decision-making processes related to our business. That is, we will consider environment and social consideration in anything we do in terms of lending to customers. Principle 2 is talking that we should avoid and minimize or accept negative impact of our business operation on the environment. Principle 5 is saying we should promote financial inclusion, seeking to provide financial services to individuals and communities. The central bank is trying to promote financial inclusion, but there's not enough sensitization of the rural community, and it's also affecting the way they are pursuing it. Principle 7 is saying we should develop individual, institutional, and sectoral capacity. This is talking about building capacity for the industry. Here in Covenant University, we have a program that we have been pursuing since 2014 to build human capacity for the country. The 7 Sustainable Development Goals, SDG, the 9 Sustainable Principles of Banking are in tandem with Sustainable Development Goals. Nigerian banks in lending to consumers should pay more attention to gender equality, affordable and clean energy, industry and innovation and infrastructure, responsible consumption and production, and climate action. Equity principle of financial institutions and Nigerian banks. The equity principles are International Financial Cooperation Performance Standard on Environment and Social Sustainability of World Bank, which has become a global recognized good practice in dealing with environmental and social risk management. 90 financial institutions among the 37 countries have adopted the equity principle as a standard of lending. This will affect the type of firms they lend to and to what project is environmentally and socially acceptable. Out of the 90 financial institutions, 2 are Nigerian banks, which include Access Bank and Fidelity Bank. My research effort. Chancellor, sir, my individual and collaborative effort, research effort in finance have been focused on the area of bank management, especially capital adequacy, development finance, and stock market activities, while others address challenges and gaps in the literature. However, for this inaugural lecture, my submission dwell on the following: bank capitalization and capital adequacy. IKPEFAN 2009 conducted a study on bank consolidation capitalization in the Nigerian commercial banks, 1986 to 2006. This implication of this paper, among others, was that reform remained a major tool for bank soundness, especially in the light of global financial meltdown. The implication of this study, also, among others, is that adequate shareholders' fund can serve as a very good stimulant in strengthening performance of Nigerian depository banks and also heightening the confidence of customers, especially in the area of global economic meltdown that has taken its toll on the Nigerian financial system. IKPEFAN 20 and OJECA 2020 also investigated if corporate governance can be used as a tool for curbing bank distress in Nigerian deposit money bank. The study objective was to aim at finding the relationship between corporate governance and bank distress in deposit money bank. The evidence from the study showed that corporate governance has no significant improvement on the prevention of bank distress, but has significantly improved the performance of Nigeria's banking sector. Post-constitutional effect of mergers and acquisitions on Nigerian deposit bank was also investigated. The study found that mergers and acquisitions affect bank performance, but does not affect bank cost of equity. We also investigated the impact of mergers on deposit money banks in Nigeria between 2000 and 2009. The study gave an insight into the effectiveness of economic policy reforms in the Nigerian banking industry. The study examined the impact of mergers on deposit money banks. The evidence showed that the merger created synergy, as indicated by the statistically significant increase in post-merger financial performance, although banks should not jump at any major opportunity that offers itself because of the exercise is not an opportunistic one. We also investigated the study also investigated working capital management and performance of 6 deposit money banks. The study posited that there's a need for careful use of bank resources in a new dynamic market setting, which includes emphasis put on management of working capital. So those are the studies, those are the few ones I can take from my research effort because of the time constraint. The relationship between spirituality and job satisfaction. Spirituality has been found as a key indicator in enhancing and increasing multiple levels of organizational success and accomplishment. In the literature, a study explored the space of Nigerian bank distress and failure, which started since 1952. Bank management needs to be proactive to changing dynamics in the economic and financial environment. Concluding remark, Chancellor, sir, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the discussion so far on the topic of securing financial health of Nigerian banks today for the future should apply to all sectors and individual businesses. Some of the outcomes from this inaugural lecture has universal application to all of us in our daily management of our finances. The future of Nigerian banks. The future of Nigerian bank rests on leadership of banks management, the regulatory authorities. Nigerian banks should draw lessons from Canadian banks. In the literature, Canadian banks are seen to be the strongest and the most resilient in the world because leadership and regulatory authorities are very supportive. The future of Nigerian bank will also be enhanced if the following are checked: enhanced infrastructure in fintech to improve financial health of Nigerian banks. Total quality management. Bank management should put in place fundamental total quality management policies and plans to ensure that total quality management practices are instituted. Financial inclusion. Bank management, in conjunction with the regulatory authorities, should create awareness on digital banking to promote financial inclusion. Casualization of deposit money bank. The situation in the Nigerian bank is not very good for the future of banking because of casualization. Contract staff who, for instance, will spend only 5 years may not be willing to take banking as a career. If you enter into any bank branch today, out of every 10 staff, only 3 are permanent. And those non-casual staff are placed in a position where they handle sensitive things like drafts, current account. They are put in sensitive position, and they can commit fraud, and that can also affect the financial health of a bank. Only one check brought down Society General Bank way back in the 80s, owned by Saraki. Only one check. Periodic review of exchange rate shows that Table 5 shows that the official exchange rate of, as at 2005, was 131 naira to 27 to $1, compared to 420 to $1 in 2022. They should be reviewed. Compliance with the global practice of capital adequacy, that is the Basel Accord 1, 2, 3, and 4, which is to be introduced shortly. The future requires bank management to keep abreast of the latest development in Basel agreement in capital adequacy. This is the table showing the trend of the exchange rate between Naira and the dollar. The future of Nigerian bank will also be enhanced if the following are checked: leadership and strategy and sustainable banking capital. The purpose of spiritual leadership is to motivate followers through practicing spirituality values and exhibiting astute love in the workplace. Basic spiritual values in management, such as honesty, integrity, trustworthiness, cooperation, respect, patience, and responsibility, flexibility, and unity, should be, Lord, the trademark of Nigerian bankers. Recommendation. Nigerian banks need more bankers than bank workers. Bank workers are non-professionals from various disciplines working in the banks, while bankers are the chartered bankers, ACBIB holders. Therefore, bank management and employees should strengthen their relationship with God, John 15:5, Isaiah 41:10. Reforms remain a major tool for banking soundness, especially in the light of the global financial meltdown. Therefore, there is need for another review of bank minimum paid-up capital of 25 billion naira to avert the danger of pre-2005, 2006 era. This is evidence from the current exchange rate of the dollar to naira. Adequate shareholders' fund can serve as a veritable stimulant in strengthening the performance of Nigerian bank, deposit money bank, and also heightening the confidence of customers, especially in the era of global banking. Adequate capital provides an edge against losses, and there are 4 options, and only the first is good for the financial health of banks in Nigeria. That is liquidity and solvency. That is the best form of financial health. But today we are having that position of illiquidity and solvency induced by the central bank. The evidence from my study also showed that corporate governance has no significant improvement in the prevention of bank distress, but has significantly improved the performance of Nigerian banking sector. Therefore, bank management should continue to put more emphasis on good corporate governance. Nigerian deposit-taking institutions should continue to recognize risk weighting, including charges for credit risk, operational risk, and market risk, while capital adequacy standards and requirements should be remodeled in accordance with Basel requirement for quality and quantity of capital. The capital of banks should also be of high quality and loss absorbing. Quality of capital is determined through application of Basel 3 criteria for common equity and additional Tier 1 and Tier 2 capital, with emphasis on retained earnings as the highest quality of capital. Given the new structure of credit unions, retained earnings will parallel Basel 3 requirement for economic common equity. Capital should adequately protect against unexpected loss. Quantity of capital should rest above regulatory minimum and substantially reflect financial institution risk appetite and risk profile. The study carried out to investigate the challenges faced by banks during and after bank consolidation shows that mergers and acquisitions affect the performance of banks positively and does not affect bank cost of equity. There should be continuous monitoring by supervisory and regulatory authorities so as to preserve the gains from merger. Review of the minimum paid-up capital that I've mentioned earlier. Policies aimed at controlling inflation should be given priority in fostering financial intermediation. Fiscal and monetary policies designed to promote output stability and stimulate growth is good for financial intermediation. Bank leadership needs to address issues of technical mismanagement, cosmetic management, and desperate mismanagement and fraud which pose threat to financial health of a bank. Acknowledgement. Chancellor, sir, the presentation of this inaugural lecture is the collective effort and contribution of so many people to whom I owe a debt of gratitude. I thank everyone here for honoring me with your presence and attendance. My sincere thanks go to the Almighty God for His mercies over me and for helping me to successfully present this inaugural lecture today. I acknowledge His hand of protection and provision over my life, and profusely thank and give glory to God. I thank Jehovah for granting me the enablement, divine wisdom, revelation, divine strength, and return all praises to Him. I deeply appreciate the Chancellor and Chairman Board of Regents of Covenant University, Dr. David Oyedepo, and the Vice President of Education, Living Faith Worldwide, Pastor Faith Oyedepo. Their exemplary and visionary leadership bettered this world-class university that has nurtured great destinies that are making waves across the globe. I thank God for the visionary of Living Faith Church for also answering to the call of God. Without His obedience to God, I will not be where I am today. May the Lord continue to procure Him with unprecedented wisdom and revelation to fully actualize this liberation mandate which God delivered to Him and to free man from all harassments on the surface of the earth. I recognize and appreciate Pro-Chancellor Bishop David Oyedepo, the Board of Regents, Secretary, Board of Regents of Covenant University, Pastor David Oyedepo Jr., and the management of Covenant University for their excellent leadership provided. I also appreciate the university management, past and present, led by First Vice Chancellor, Professor Bola Ayeni, the first registrar of Yemi Natalen, as I was employed during his tenure. The standard put in place by the first leadership has sustained the growth of Covenant University. I acknowledge the other vice chancellors who have taken Covenant University from one level of glory to the other. Professor Aremu J.A., late Professor Isaac Obayan, Professor Sikiayo, Professor A. Atairo, and the current vice chancellor, Professor Abiodun H. Adebayo. I also acknowledge the current registrar, Mrs. Toby David, and all previous registrars. My relationship with Covenant University, as I've said, started in 17 August 2002. For your love, mercy, and grace, provision, Father, I say thank you. I acknowledge the visionary and Chancellor of Covenant University, the small drop of water I have taken from his ocean of knowledge have added value to my life in many ways for being a spiritual head and role model. I thank all my friends, colleagues, and friends who have been a major inspiration to me, and also who have worked with me either as co-advisor or co-authors. I acknowledge Professor Peter Eriki of the Nigerian University of Benin, who I have worked with in Nigeria. I also acknowledge and appreciate current faculty and staff of Department of Banking and Finance, Covenant University. I have worked with, starting with Professor Abiola A. Babajide, Professor Wumi Alokoye, Professor Kehinde Adetuloye, Dr. Alice Emari, Dr. Folashade Adeboye, Dr. Ben Eyukioya, Dr. Uzo Achugamonu, Dr. Aregan Sibo, Dr. Usuma Usage Judwi, Dr. Akinjare Bosede, Dr. Tolupe Adeshina, Mrs. Olabisi Shodimu, and former faculty and staff of Department of Banking and Finance, Covenant University, starting with Associate Professor J.N. Taiwo, now with Department of Accounting and Finance, Landmark University. Omaron was a source of inspiration in the department. Professor Sebastian Uramadu of Federal University of Agriculture, Umudike, Dr. Grace Ofure Ebonwan, Department of Economics, Augustine University, Ilare Ekpe, Lagos State, Mr. Wonsu Ebere, Mr. Jacob Oni, Dr. Muktaita. They have all been very cooperative in the department. I also acknowledge all faculty and staff that have met or had contact in various colleges in the course of my various assignments in the university. College of Management and Social Sciences, College of Leadership, College of Engineering, College of Science and Technology. I shall continue to appreciate and celebrate you in everything you do. God bless you. With all sense of gratitude, I want to recognize my parents, Sir J.A. IKPEFAN, J.P., KC, the Odion Evio of Evebe, Ora, A.K., Double J.P., Owan West Local Government, Edo State, who passed on to glory August 28, 2002, at the age of 99 years. And Lady Christiana IKPEFAN is represented by Monday Irekpen Ajayi. My father is presented here by Irekpen of Living Faith Church, Afuzi. Their sacrifice, encouragement, and every step they took in my youth, right from primary school to university, has been a major factor in my development. They are ably represented by Diki Monde Ajayi, Irekpen of Living Faith Church, Afuzi, Owan East Local Government, Edo State. To my beautiful and supportive wife, Mrs. Grace Bambele IKPEFAN, I want to thank you for your support. and in-laws also present here. My children, God sent Prophet, God's will, Osomebo, IKPEFAN, you are all source of joy and inspiration. I thank and recognize persons, groups, and institutions not mentioned here for your contribution in various ways to the success of my academic and professional journey. May God bless you all really good. I cannot forget to mention my biological brothers and sisters. 2 of them are present here. Mr. Frank IKPEFAN, retired civil servant, now a businessman. Dr. Solomon Osage, a consultant with the Central Hospital Benin City, is present here. Mrs. Mercy Oviagle Ni IKPEFAN, nursing sister and husband, Dr. Henry Oviagle, MD, Ovieso Hospital, Adroa, Benin City. Dr. David Oziegbe, dental surgeon, is present here, Central Hospital, Benin City. Christopher Izoka, IKPEFAN, economist and businessman, Madrid, Spain. Mr. Oyima Anthony IKPEFAN, chartered accountant, Governor's Office, Edo State. Dr. Oise Emmanuel IKPEFAN, our last born, associate professor, pharmacognosy, Delta State University, Abraka, Delta State. God has been very faithful to us when we recall where we are coming from and where we are today. God has really favored us. To him alone be all the glory. I recognize the following institutions and professional bodies that have provided an enabling environment that help foster the success of my academic journey. St. Luke Primary School, Saplet, Delta State, represented here by Malel Kojero, Peter Ayiwe, and Musa Momodu. They are all present here. And colleagues also of Okotebo Grammar School, Saplet. They are present here. Lagos, I also acknowledge my colleagues at Edo College, Benin City, and Higher School. I also acknowledge Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, CIBN, and shares Dixie Professor Wole Adewumi. I also acknowledge Institute of Chartered Accountant of Nigeria. I acknowledge Chartered Institute of Stockbroker, represented by Shuku Diunga, Head CIS Academy. Chartered of Security and Investment, represented by John Osua. I appreciate the staff of Compass Securities and Investment, led by Mr. Emeka Madwebke, Member, Investment and Security Tribunal, Lagos, and the following staff: Mr. Umba, Compliance Officer, Mr. Yemike Obeshe, Authorized Dealing Clerk, Nigerian Stock Exchange, Dr. Anthony Adesheye, Paul Uzon, Planet Capital Limited, Dr. Mutaita, Mr. Charles Fagroga, Authorized Dealing Clerk of Nigerian Stock Exchange, for their support that enabled me to qualify as an Authorized Dealing Clerk of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. As an outstanding athlete from primary school to secondary school, my love for sport was aborted because my parents wanted me to proceed to school, but my task for sport was never quenched. As I enlisted and took referee as a hobby and enrolled as a trainee referee with Edo Referee Council, and qualified as a grade 1 referee with Nigerian Football Referee Federation within the record time of 6 years. Though retired as a grade 1 referee in 2012, I am now a match commissioner assessor with Nigerian Football Referee Federation. I appreciate Edo Referee Council, Edo State, and by extension, Radio Referee Society, Benin City, for your love. I thank the members of the press for your honoring me with their presence. Chancellor, sir, this is my inaugural lecture. I thank you for listening. I wish you all, visitors and guests, journey mercy as you depart to your various institutions. God's word is loaded with promises that teaches us about having faith in God during hard times. It tells us not to worry, to pray, and He will give us peace, like you can imagine. In God, we praise His word, and in God, I put my trust. I will not fear what flesh can do against me. Psalm 55, verse 4. And who is like unto God, thee, O Lord, among the gods? Who is like thee, glorious in holiness, fearful in praises, and doing great wonders? Exodus 15:11. It is only the God of heaven and earth who brought me to Covenant University that has done great wonders. Today is an important landmark of my academic journey as I enter into the rank of sitting professor. Join me in singing this song. We give you glory, Lord, as we honor you. We give you glory, Lord, as we honor you. You are wonderful. You are worthy, O Lord. You are wonderful. You are worthy, O Lord. One more time. We give you glory, Lord, as we honor you. We give you glory, Lord, as we honor you. You are wonderful. You are worthy, O Lord. You are wonderful. You are worthy, O Lord. That is my testimony.
I think the inaugural lecturer deserves a thunderous applause for that erudite delivery. Congratulations, sir. Congratulations, sir. Please, may we be seated. The inaugural lecturer has succeeded in treating us to a sumptuous intellectual menu. No doubt his recommendations will assist the government and other stakeholders in redressing the current crisis in our financial sector. Thank you so much, sir, for living true to your academic stewardship, these 2 decades of painstaking scholarship. May we once again put our hands together for Professor Uche IKPEFAN. I want to respectfully at this point invite to the podium the Deputy Vice Chancellor of Covenant University, Professor Olujide Adekeye, to move the vote of thanks for this event. Please, can we put our hands together for him?
Thank you. Chancellor, sir. Standing on the existing protocols, I move this vote of thanks on behalf of the management, Senate, staff, and students of Covenant University. I want to respectfully appreciate the Chancellor and Chairman Board of Regents, Dr. David O. Oyedepo, whose obedience birthed Covenant. This has been an impactful and insightful lecture on securing the financial health of Nigerian banks today for the future. Congratulations to Professor Uche IKPEFAN, the 29th inaugural lecturer of Covenant. On behalf of Covenant University, I sincerely thank all of the men and women on whose shoulders the inaugural lecturer stood to attain this great feat. I thank all of our special guests who are here physically and those connected online for being part of the 29th inaugural lecture of Covenant. I want to thank and equally appreciate all members of the Covenant University community, management, members of Senate, faculty, staff, and our esteemed kings and queens in Hebron. Members of the press here present are also acknowledged. Lastly, it's my pleasure to thank and appreciate Mrs. IKPEFAN and other members of the IKPEFAN family. I congratulate you on the success of today's lecture. May I respectfully request that we put our hands together to appreciate God Almighty for the success of today's inaugural lecture. To Him alone be all the glory. I wish everyone a safe trip back to your various destinations. Thank you all and good evening.
Thank you so much, sir. That was the DVC. Please, can we once again appreciate him? With the permission of the Vice Chancellor, I want to recognize some special people who have taken the pains to get to grace this occasion on this very important day. Please, if I mention your name, just rise for recognition so that our audience can see you, please. Elder Monday Ire Pen Ajayi, Living Faith Church, Afuze. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for coming. Dr. Solomon IKPEFAN, consultant at the Central Hospital, Benin City. Thank you for coming, sir. God bless you. Dr. Ziegbe IKPEFAN, dental surgeon, Central Hospital, Benin City. Thank you for coming, sir. The beloved wife of the inaugural lecturer, Deaconess Mrs. Grace Bamidele IKPEFAN. Thank you so much, ma, for being here. You're welcome, ma. Please sit down. The inaugural lecturer has also represented here his primary and secondary school classmates. talking about enduring relationships. Dr. Paul Uziam, Planet Capital Limited. Please, can you rise? Welcome, sir. Mr. Musa Modolu, pardon me, sir, if I didn't get that correctly. Thank you, sir. God bless you, sir. Mr. Peter Ayewe, please, may you rise for recognition. Thank you so much, sir. Mr. Emmanuel Ohunoyero, thank you, sir. You're welcome. We also have the representative of Babcock University, Dr. Akintola. Please, can you rise for recognition? You're welcome, sir. We also have representative from Bells University of Science and Technology, Dr. Mrs. Njogo Bibiana. You're welcome, ma. Thank you so much for coming. We also have Dr. Ladiro from Crawford University. Thank you, sir. Thank you for being here. Of course, we have some members of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, CIBN. Their team is well represented at this event, led by Mr. Akin Morakiyo, the Registrar and Chief Executive Officer, CIBN. You are welcome, sir. Thank you, sir. Mr. Tolu Adeyemi, he's the Group Head of Membership Division, CIBN. You are most welcome, sir. Mrs. Folake Akintayo, may you rise for recognition, ma. Thank you for coming, ma. God bless you. The Head Corporate Communications, CIBN. Please, can you rise for recognition? The Head Corporate Commissions, all right. Thank you, ma. Mrs. Christiana Kiola, thank you for coming, ma. Still from CIBN. And finally on that list, Mr. Rilwan Abdul. Thank you for coming, sir. God bless you. Thank you for making our time to be with us. Please, we want to remind our special guests that immediately after this event, right here in this hall, the university will be treating you to a cocktail across the building. Center for Learning Resources is directly opposite this building. We expect you to be there immediately after this event. Also invited to the cocktail are members of the university management, the members of the university senate, of course. Thank you for your patience. God bless you all. Please, can you put your hands together? We shall be having the closing prayers shortly. Immediately after the closing prayers, we expect that the CU band will lead us in the CU anthem alone. I have the pleasure at this point to invite to the podium the chaplain of Covenant University to bring us the closing prayers. Thank you.
Shall we please rise as we pray? Heavenly Father, we thank you. Thank you for your son, the inaugural lecturer of today. Thank you for your good hand that has kept him even up to this time. We thank you for the success of the entire proceedings today. Take all of the glory. Indeed, you have been with us. Your hand has been upon this great institution. You have proved that indeed you are the author of it all. Take all the glory. And so every other thing that we shall be doing for the rest of the day, we commit into thy hands. And we ask that the same way you have helped us in this session, you also do the same again. For everyone who has come from far and near, your return back is safe. No evil report of any kind. In the name of Jesus Christ. Our Father, again, we thank you. In Jesus' precious name we have prayed.
Thank you so much. See you, band. Please, in a standing position, we shall have the procession in reverse order. We crave for your patience, please, in a standing position. The procession is led by the Vice Chancellor of Covenant University. Congratulations, sir, Professor Abiodun H. Adebayo. Following him is the Deputy Vice Chancellor of the university. And behind him are the members of management, of course, being led by the inaugural lecturer of today, Professor IKPEFAN. Congratulations to Covenant University. The Dean of Students Affairs, the Chaplain of Covenant University, the Deans of colleges, our eminent professors, heads of various departments, directors of strategic units. Congratulations to Covenant University. Congratulations. Following them are the eminent professors of Covenant University, marching in their ranks and their regalia. Congratulations, Covenant University. Congratulations, College of Management and Social Sciences. Congratulations to our kings and queens. God bless you. Our guests, please, our special guests can join the procession. Our special guests, please join the procession. Thank you so much for honoring us with your presence. Members of the CIBN group, please join the procession. Thank you for your presence. God bless you. Thereafter, we can have the members of the university faculty and staff. Please, you can join the procession, university faculty and staff. Congratulations to the College of Management and Social Sciences. Congratulations to our kings and queens. Congratulations to Covenant University. Thank you so much, Covenant University Band. God bless you. Congratulations to our kings and queens. You may please exit the auditorium now. Thank you. God bless you.